What will we see tonight? Will the Heat advance to another finals, or can the Pacers force a Game 7 back on their home court? James strong to the basket and a foul. Couple of jab steps. And Stevenson nails the three. Wade a three. That's good. Even Wade continues his three-point shooting. Chalmers, nice pass to Bosh on the finish. Complete total dominance. Miami destroying Indiana here in Game 6.
The opponent the Spurs or Thunder will face in the finals, the same one that's represented the Eastern Conference the last 3 years. The Miami Heat are looking to close out Indy in Game 6 and get rid of public enemy number 1 in Miami.
Matt, I got to get a shirt like that.
You probably can. Outside American Airlines Arena in Miami, they probably have some extras for you with that guy's face on them. His face was all over this series, and his name was on the tongues of everybody who talked about this series, and he was at it again early on. Stevenson straddling LeBron James and appeared to intentionally block his exit. James to the rim. And one. 11-0 Heat run. That put him up 13-9. Stevenson, for all the antics, there's plenty of skill there. Knocks down the three over LeBron. And James caught Stevenson in the face. Trying to defend that shot.
Payback, right?
Oh, there would be. Well, like right there.
Ooh. Coney Island right there.
And LeBron's like, come on, man. Birdman's got to get involved as well. James kicking it to Shane Battier. What a pass. And the three is pure. Miami up by 11 to the second quarter. Udonis Haslem's got something to say to Lance Stevenson about LeBron. Going for the loose ball here. Stevenson takes a swipe at the ball or Norris Cole's head. He connected on the ladder, and it was a flagrant one, Coach.
When you get to look at it one more time, you see that's a hard hit to Norris Cole. Very fortunate they did not throw him out of the game at that point.
That would be unnecessary contact, which is the definition for a flagrant one. Here's Dwayne Wade for three. Tried a few of these in this series.
He really has. When Wade's hitting three-pointers off the dribble, you know it's going to be a long night for the team.
When Chris Bosh is hitting him off the glass from straight away,
that too.
You know your night might be over. That put him up by 21. James ahead to Wade for the dunk. He had 9 at the half. It's the rare 2-dribble assist. Miami up by 23 and pouring it on in the second quarter. Mario Chalmers, beautiful look to set up Chris Bosh, who was 10 of 14, 25 points, 8 boards. Heat up by 26 at the break, their biggest postseason halftime lead ever. James keeps it going in the third.
James just gets hot, hitting threes, getting to the basket, and he's not passing it. He's finishing in that play right there.
And finishing off the Pacers, James was 25 points, 8 of 12 from the field. David West, he can only laugh. It was a laugher. And the Heat claimed their 4th straight Eastern Conference championship. They did it with their 11th straight home playoff win, including 8-0 here in 2014. They're the first team since the Celtics of the 1980s to reach the finals in 4 straight years. They did it with a postseason high 117 points, shot nearly 58% from the field, also their best of this playoff run. And for Eric Spoelstra, another step toward the goal.
We talk about all the time with our team. It's about moments. It's not necessarily about every single game or minute during January and February. It's about the big moments of keeping yourself ready and having an opportunity to make an impact at some point during the postseason.
We don't take this for granted, and hopefully our fans in Miami, our supporters, don't take this for granted neither. You know, this is not nothing that happens every day, but we've worked as a unit. We've sacrificed as individuals to be in this moment, in this position. So we understand, where we at right now. But, I mean, it's still crazy, too.
Well, I mean, that's just to piggyback what D. Wade said. We don't take this moment for granted. We're going to celebrate tonight because it doesn't happen every year. I mean, we've been fortunate enough to be a part of this 4 straight times.
And the Pacers, unfortunately, have had the misfortune of listening to those celebratory comments from the Heat 3 straight years now. They're the first team to be eliminated in 3 straight seasons by the same opponent since the Jazz a few years back against the LA Lakers. And Czar, so much of this series, the chatter was about Lance Stephenson trying to get under LeBron James' skin. How did James respond in Game 6?
Well, LeBron James remembers, okay? You go back to Game 5 where he was getting blown in his ear. Well, he's blowing by Lance Stephenson. Flow right into the isolation, 4 players on the other side of the floor. LeBron James, all that room to try and split the defenders. That first step is such a big one. He's by Lance Stephenson. Then they give him a little pick and roll action, and West steps out too far. The guard's got to get over the screen. Stephenson, he doesn't do it. There's the split opportunity for LeBron James. Then he simply attacks the front of the rim. And then off the out-of-bounds play, as he catches the defender coming out flat-footed, right there on the closeout, LeBron James attacks him. He can never get back in his stance. Stephenson fouled the opportunity for the three-point play from LeBron James.
Well, Miami wins again over their last 20 games now against each other. The Heat have won just 11 of those 20, 11-9, but just enough to get them to the finals and keep Indiana at home for another summer after such a promising start to their season. They declared at the beginning of the year they wanted that #1 seed in the Eastern Conference, an 18-2 start, and then a 40-12 record at the All-Star break helped secure it. But then, Grant, there were cracks in the foundation.
They really were, and they struggled. They pretty much limped into the postseason, struggled in the first round against Atlanta and against Washington. We're really lucky to be in a position to play home court advantage against Miami Heat in the Eastern Conference Finals. But that foundation, when you get that far into the playoffs, you got to be together as one. You got to be a unit, playing good basketball, playing your best basketball of the season. Indiana wasn't there. They played their best, unfortunately, back in January and in December. And Miami, peaking at the right time, experienced, had been there before. They're playing as good as they played all season.
We may never know definitively what happened in the Indiana locker room that set them down this path, but ultimately it's another very tough pill to swallow for Frank Vogel.
Proud of our team for having a heck of a season, winning 56 games, getting ourselves 2 wins from the NBA Finals, a chance to compete for it all. It's bitterly disappointing to fall short of our goals. And it's bitterly disappointing to lose to this team 3 years in a row. But we're competing against the Michael Jordan of our era, the Chicago Bulls of our era. And you have to tip your hats to them for the way they played this whole series. And you just have to go into the offseason with the mindset that we're going to reload, that we have a core, a system, a culture that's going to give us a chance every year. And we got to make whatever adjustments we got to make to come back and be here again next year.
Yes, it is frustrating, especially when we set out a goal to, earn the #1 seed. And we didn't get to that goal of playing a Game 7 on our floor.
Lance, a lot's been made about, his future with the Pacers. Do you want to see #1 by your side next season?
I don't know. That's for Larry, Kevin, for them to decide. It'd be great. We came in this league together. It'll be great for us to continue our journey together. But he's played a huge year this whole season and in this postseason. So it's definitely put pressure on us to make, decisions going forward with Lance.
Interesting comments from Paul George. Lance Stephenson is the most significant of their unrestricted free agents. Evan Turner, who came on at the trade deadline for Indiana, really became a non-factor in the postseason. It's hard to imagine them hanging on to him this summer as a restricted free agent. And you look at the salary already committed, $66 million, including the beginning of Paul George's extension, and another $15 million or so on the books for Roy Hibbert next season. So as you look at the Pacers, who played so well in the regular season, came up short here in the Eastern Conference Finals again. What changes do you think are likely or are needed?
Well, of those 4 free agent names that we saw, and there's different categories of free agency, as we know, the one that I think for sure will be back is Lance Stevenson, unless there's problems in the locker room where he's a disruptive force. But if that's not the case, then you have to bring him back because he's young, he's talented, and we've seen him grow over the last couple of seasons. Now, Evan Turner, to me, is a mystery because they traded, brought him in, and yet in this series of 6 games, he played a total of like 3 minutes and 45 seconds. He didn't get in 4 of the other games, and one of them he was sick, so did not dress that game. So that looks like that trade is not one that they're real happy about right now or pleased with.
Doesn't seem so. Lots of, well, I don't know about lots of changes. Lots of decisions to be made, certainly over the summer for the Indiana Pacers. Heat going to the finals, which begin next Thursday.
Well, I mean, it's interesting. I think Miami, the mental and sort of the psychological advantage, I mean, having beat these teams before, you know, Oklahoma City 2 years ago, and then San Antonio last year, and certainly how they won that series.
Oh, is that dramatic? I forget.
Yeah, it was a little dramatic. I've been impressed with San Antonio, obviously, this year and being able to recover and put themselves in a position, you know, one more win, and they're playing Miami in the finals. But, you know, I mean, look, this team is on a mission. This team is focused. This team, you know, they're chasing those great teams. They're chasing the Bulls, and that's what they're thinking about, and that's how they conduct themselves, and that's the standard that they brought really throughout the last 3 seasons. So it's going to be a great finals regardless. I can't wait, but I think Miami at least probably has the psychological edge.
The Thunder, of course, had James Harden 2 years ago when they matched up with Miami and came up short. Spurs were 28 seconds away from a championship last year before that game went to Game 7. Who would you like, respectively, in those 2 series?
Well, I think Miami's preparation is completely different. For the one series, you're preparing for 2 superstars in Westbrook and Durant. The other team, San Antonio, you're preparing for a complete team that can beat you that way. And I think when you look back and you say, 1 basket, 1 rebound, 1 free throw, San Antonio might have been the champion last year.
Going to be fun. Starts on Thursday in a Western Conference city to be determined.